Hello, everyone. Let's start our discussion with a interesting scripture. And that scripture is Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. And the application that I'm going to use is going to be a little bit different from what you were taught in the Kingdom Hall. Revelation 12:12. I'm on Bible Hub and I'm looking at the New International Version, and that reads, "Therefore rejoice, you heavens and you who dwell in them. But woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has gone down to you. He's filled with fury because he knows his time is short." Well, it is my opinion that the Watchtower organization knows that its time is short. And as a result, they are trying harder and harder to hold on to the members that they have and to try and go back and get people that they had already indoctrinated but are inactive or not attending the meetings. Well, why is that? Well, with all the damage that has been done to the organization on the internet, with all these members that were at one point witnesses, all these members giving their testimonials online, all these websites showing the fallacies of the teachings with their own literature, Watchtower's own literature. The most damaging pieces of information tend to come from the organization itself, which it has to change later. All this information is online, and technology and the internet are moving forward. It's not going anywhere. This is how it is. Something happening can be put online and accessible to millions of people. The organization can't hide things anymore. It's all there. It's all online. Now, yes, they can go on a smear campaign and try to say, well, these people are, let's think of a name. Let's say apostate. Or let's say mentally diseased. Let's say something about their and attack their character. However, the average person who gets on YouTube, gets online, goes on a discussion forum, and sees thousands of former members all telling the same story, different variations, but basically the same story of hypocrisy, they would have to be crazy to think that they were all making it up. So I want to know what you guys think. You comment down below. What does the future of the organization look like? Do you think that this organization is going to be able to grow and continue to gain more members, or is it going to die off one way or another, in the sense that in order for them to grow, they're going to have to appeal to new people, bring new people in. Door-to-door work isn't going to replace the numbers that are leaving. Having people with carts and watchtowers and publications on those carts aren't going to change that. going to people's homes unannounced, uninvited, knocking on their doors, disturbing them from whatever it was that they were doing is not very popular. It's not going to help this organization as far as growth is concerned. So where is that growth going to come from? They will have to change something in order to appeal to outside people, especially young people. They will have to change something. And in changing something drastic, let's say the shunning policy, or changing the music and accepting gospel or something to that effect, a major change that they would have to make. They're going to have to make some kind of change in order to appeal to more people, especially in Western countries. In order for them to do that, with all the changes that they have made prior, that's all over the web, that they've been saying this is the right way, and then a few years later they change it and say something else is the right way, all the time saying that they're getting the information from a divine source. Well, how is it that this divine source keeps giving out incorrect information? If they change more in order to become more mainstream, in order to bring in more people, well, the people that they have are eventually going to leave because it's going to look ridiculous that they've been teaching something for so long and then they're changing it again. So if they can't change anything major, because doing that, the members that they have will eventually leave, because then they'll look stupid having preached something that have just gotten changed. Well, then they're going to have to try to tighten their grips and hold on to the people that they have and just fill their pockets with the money that they can get from them. Because once they're gone, how are they going to bring in more people? How are they going to appeal to more people? Yes, you're going to have someone at the door that feels a little desperate at the moment, or may not mentally be all together, and may be susceptible to a stranger coming up to them and then just listening to whatever they tell them. But that's not going to sustain the organization in the future. With all the blunders online, people are going to be aware of these things. So in holding on to what they have, if the organization knows there's no future, we've messed up too much with our doctrine, with our dealings with people, with our dealings with molestation cases, we've messed up on all these things, the public perception is going to be gone. If that's the case, and they try to tighten their grip on shunning, which from my understanding, the assembly, all about shunning. So it looks like that's the direction they're heading in. Well, we don't have a future, so we'll just tighten our grips on what we got and we'll talk about shunning. The entire assembly about shunning. Well, that is going to further alienate them from young people. They're not going to want to join that. So true, yeah, they're going to hold on to the members that they have, albeit they'll still continue to suffer losses as people see the hypocrisy and people see how they're treated when they go to elders in these congregations for help, and those elders turn on them and treat them poorly in judicial hearings, or the person gets to the judicial hearing and they could tell from the start that they were going to be disfellowshipped. They were just looking for a reason. These people will continue to leave But they're going to try to hold on to the members that they have by tightening their grips on the shunning, the disfellowshipping, saying that if you know someone's doing something, well, treat them like they're disfellowshipped, even if they're not disfellowship. Does that sound like a pleasant environment? Does that sound like waves of people are going to want to be a part of that? No. So if you get on Wikipedia and you see that, well, they're saying they have 8 million members. I don't really believe those numbers. What if it's really more like 5.5 million? Well, you're not going to be able to sustain yourself, and you're going to have to shrink. You're going to be selling kingdom halls, which is what we see happening. You're going to be selling kingdom halls even to churches. You're going to be so desperate to try to move those properties. You're going to be selling your headquarters buildings, which is what we see happening. You're going to be trying to cut costs, which is what we see happen. So from everything we see, the organization is suffering from the losses that they have as far as their members, and from not being able to gain more members in Western countries. Now let's talk a little bit about, let's say, the third world countries. Now, true, they may be able to maintain their grip on the members that they have in Dominican Republic, maybe Africa, maybe South America, some of the places where the internet may not be so prevalent. But things are going to be moving in the direction where the internet will be in those places too. Technology is moving forward. It's not going back. It's moving forward. So eventually those places will have more access than what they do as far as the internet is concerned. And the people that don't have the money for those things, well, the organization can't sustain themselves on people that don't have money to give them. What are they going to do? Accept sheep as donations now? Accept chickens as donations from people that don't have money in third world countries? Are they going to have people making quilts and accepting those for donations? How do you sustain yourself if your primary growth is in third world countries or poorer countries because they don't have access to the internet and they're not really able to research the organization and see its effects on people? So honestly, the organization is going to crumble. It's not doing well. The only way that I see there being any growth or them being able to really maintain themselves is if they make major changes. The organization doesn't really do very much of anything that attracts people better than anyone else. You may have a Baptist church, and that Baptist church may be packed, and even if a person doesn't want to attend church one of these Sundays or one Sunday in particular, they may go just because the music. They may go because that choir that they have is one of the best choirs in the city, and they just get so much encouragement and they love to hear that choir sing. Or they may have the most charismatic pastor. Well, the organization has got probably a few nice songs. They may have maybe 3 songs that you like in that song book. However, I don't think a single person is going to the hall because they cannot wait to hear that music. They don't even have a choir, of course. We all know that. But I don't think a single person is going to the hall for the music. Music is spiritual too. There's nothing wrong with enjoying spiritual music, gospel music. There's nothing wrong with that. However, people that appreciate those things aren't getting that kind of fulfillment from a kingdom hall. So that's one thing that they don't do better than anyone else. And as far as charisma, who in the entire governing body has got charisma? Who is exciting? Who is electric? Who makes people want to listen to what they have to say? I was raised in the organization, and I could probably count on one hand how many circuit overseers were exciting to listen to, let alone an elder body and or the governing body or anyone else. So they don't have the charisma. That's not going to attract people. The information, from my understanding, is getting more and more watered down in the watchtower, where they've been making a lot of mistakes with the watchtower. What they're giving people now oftentimes is very basic information in the watchtower. If you're a very intellectual person, the organization isn't really going to appeal to you, because an intellectual person is going to want to do real research, not be confined to a set group of publications. You know, a real intellectual person will be starving intellectually if they can only read books from one source. So you could say that there is more emotion in some of these churches and have a point and say, well, maybe they will appeal to people that want to do more study. However, that would be short-lived, because after a certain point, they're going to know the basics, and they're not allowed to do any research outside of that. So I don't see that sustaining the organization. Not to mention that these other churches do have Bible study during the week and Sunday school prior to church if someone wanted to attend and really get into a discussion. And, you know, we have to talk about this, because now this doesn't have anything to do with anything spiritual per se, but just really the law of nature. If you have a kingdom hall and there's a couple of young brothers there, let's just say a circuit, and there's a few young people there, and there aren't any corresponding women for them to really date, well, that's going to be a problem, and those young men will not continue there eventually. Same with women. You have, let's say, very gorgeous, very beautiful women, and there aren't any corresponding men there for them to date. Are they going to just ignore the laws of nature, ignore all these men that aren't bad people, real nice men, wanting to get to know them, wanting to date them? No. If there aren't people to date, if there's not a nice dating pool there, well, a lot of people are going to not only leave, but let's say someone was a visitor and they went to a hall and everyone was pretty much 45 and up. If this is a young person, they're not going to stay there. They're not going to relate. They can try to love bomb them all they want. But if these halls don't have an abundance of young people for other young people to want to come in and date, then not only are you not going to be bringing young people in, you're going to be losing the ones that you have. one of the things that the Mormon church does well, and this is another church that does this better than the witnesses, is entice people to want to join because of dating, wanting to date a member of the church, and eventually that gets them studying, because these Mormons have what is called single wards or churches, and everyone in there is young and single, and that draws people. That's just the law of nature. A whole bunch of young, nice, single people in a church is going to draw people there because they want to date them. They do that way better than the witnesses, and probably any other church I can think of. You can go to, unless it's some really, really small church, and you will see nice, attractive people there. There may be some halls, maybe bigger halls in bigger cities that may have a few people, but none that I've seen around here. So comment down below, let me know, what do you think? If you were the president of the Watchtower, if you were one of the governing body members of the Watchtower, how are you going to survive? What do you have to appeal to people? And if all you can do is hold on to the members that you have, to a degree, because you're going to still lose some, how long is your organization going to be around? So this is a good thing, because all the effort that has been put into exposing the organization and the things going on in the organization by members that have been members for years and have really good experiences to share with people, this has been effective. And in a sense, the war is being won by brave former members of the Watchtower organization who speak out against the hypocrisy and the false teachings of that organization. Now, the organization is still battling. There's still a battle going on over the members that are still there. Some of us still have family members there, and we're still involved in a battle to try to get them free. But as far as the war, the overall survival of the organization, is that not over with? The war is won, is it not? How are they going to survive? The more that they hold on to the members that they have through shunning and disfellowshipping and trying to frighten people so as not to speak out, the more they're going to upset the people who feel like their families are being held hostage, and the more they're going to speak out. They're done any way you look at it. I can't think of a single way that they can maintain themselves. If they do let go of the shunning, then there's nothing holding people there. There's nothing that they're afraid of, because they know they can leave and not lose their family. So then they'd have a mass exodus for that. They're done. They're done. I don't see how they're going to survive, 30 years into the future. How are they going to survive? 30 years in the future, a lot of these diehard people are going to die off. What do you have left? A whole crop of people that you brought in from door to door? Where did they come from? Comment down below. Let me know what you think. What is the future of the organization, if there is a future at all? This is Ex-Bethelite signing out.